As you're coming in, my name is Deb Overly. I'm the Director of Franchise Operations for ActiveAge and also your favorite ADC Pro coach. Thank you so much for joining us on the webinar tonight. Chris Channa, the founder of ActiveAge, is going to be joining us shortly. But while everybody's coming in, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items. I just want to share our why here at ADC Pro, and our why is that we believe that adult day is the future of senior care. However, we have seen way too many people struggle to get started or open their own adult day centers, and we are on a mission to help other adult daycare owners open, be successful, and be able to help us spread the news that this is the future of adult day. So the purpose of today's call is going to be to give everybody a chance to ask Chris questions and learn from each other as we go along, hopefully avoid the mistakes that so many others have made. So in order to do that, and in order to keep track of everyone's questions, please submit your questions by typing them into the chat box now. Chris, when he joins us, he's going to go through each question in the order that it was received, and he'll give everybody 5 to 7 minutes per question so that he can get through as many questions as possible. And so go ahead, start typing your questions in into the chat box so they're there. And also when he calls on you, be prepared to unmute your mic because he's going to want to talk right to you. So for the next couple of minutes while we're typing in our questions and we're waiting for Chris to get here, I'd like to learn a little bit about you guys. And where you're from, where you're located, where you are on this journey. If you're just looking into things right now, you're ready to open, you have opened, and what actually you inspired to even start this. You're gonna have to help me with your name. Is it Eurydice?
Eurydice.
Eurydice?
Yes.
Where are you located?
I'm in Cortland Manor, New York.
In New York? Okay.
Yes.
And where are you in this state? What stage are you in right now?
I'm still in a research stage. I'm trying to get out of that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what got you, do you have a background in elder care or business or healthcare?
A little bit. I take care of my mom who has Alzheimer's. I've been doing that for over 5 years now. So that's what prompted me to want to do something like this. I've also worked at a nursing home for a little bit, but I was like reception, but I also helped out when needed.
Okay. All right. So so you're researching things right now, and this is a great forum. We answer questions no matter what they are, what stage you're in. We also have a lot of other resources. So, and I'll share those with you right before I get off and Chris comes on. And I look forward to supporting you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you so much.
Sure. Kimberly, are you there?
Interested in owning your very own ActiveAge? Join the fastest growing franchise concept in senior care. As an ActiveAge franchise partner, you can be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Have access to a world-class Margaritaville-style environment, and together we can change the world for seniors and their family caregivers. Own an ActiveAge today.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Where are you located?
So I am in Michigan, Southwest Michigan, right by the lake. So I border Indiana and
Okay.
Illinois, so crossroads of America. I'm a nurse by trade, 21 years. I've been in healthcare for 31. I've done every kind of nursing from trauma, ICU, director of nursing, migrant outreach nursing, but I'm investing full time, started off in real estate. So where I'm at
Okay.
right now is I started first investing in myself to do my business structure and all that good stuff. And now
Right.
I'm back and forth with, do I want to do residential assisted living versus the adult daycare or combine them both? But like, I recently found out in Michigan, I was typing the question in as you called on me, is there's more residential assisted living houses in Michigan per like square, mile or however they do the indicators than any other
Hmm.
place in the country, which I was kind of shocked by.
Wow.
So yeah, right. And so we do have a couple adult daycare centers that are like state funded that are horrible. Like
Yep.
I would put my dog in them. And so
Yep.
that so it's like I know that the need is there, but as far as the key point indicators of like demographics for private pay and stuff, I'm struggling because I am on the border of Indiana, so I could invest down there. And I do things with creative financing too. So I get, I have like private money lenders and I have access to capital and, know how to raise private capital and all that fun stuff. So I'm kind of like, I'm in it, but I'm not there yet. I'm just looking for more demographics and information to make a better educated
Right.
decision at this point. Like, how can I make an impact with my healthcare experience and what I've done combined with, what's the best that I can do for the community and then cash flow on that as well. Like Chris says, the
Right.
carrot, that's totally my motto. Make an
Yeah.
impact with cash flowing. That's like my goal in life.
Right. Right. And as you may know or may not know, one of the reasons that we believe adult daycare is the future of senior care is that, and Chris used to own an assisted living also.
I saw that.
Um, yeah, and the fact of the matter is that that adult day is about half the price or less than in-home care or assisted living.
Right.
And so, for those that have financial struggles, a lot of them have some support in Medicaid and other ways. For those that are very wealthy, they can afford assisted livings. Um, but for middle class America who's worked all their life
Mm-hmm.
and has a little bit saved, but not a lot, and they're living on their social security or retirement, um, it's really the only financially, it's really the only viable option for them
Yeah.
when they need care, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I look forward to your questions.
Thank you.
Jim, where you at?
Good evening. I'm
Good
from Louisville.
evening.
Yeah, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And
And where are you on what stage are you at? Just
I,
researching or working on it?
kind of both. Okay. In my homework, I'm actually very early in it.
Okay.
I haven't researched the competition in Louisville other than just real cursory. I was surprised to find at least half a dozen, what looked like a half a dozen adult daycare providers. One of them might be actually at-home care. I'm unclear. So I'm just now finding out if there's support for more here in this area, or if I need to look at cast the net a little wider.
Okay. And do you know, are they Medicaid home health cares or are they private pay?
It's a mix. We're actually familiar with one that
just had an unfortunate incident happen to a Medicaid provider that just opened up. It was a husband and wife team. My wife and I are actually really close with their sales director. We've known them for about a dozen years. Actually, I was talking to her not about adult daycare, but about some real estate activities that I was doing and reaching out to seniors who were transitioning to full-time assisted living and what are they going to do with their houses. This is just 2 or 3 months ago. And then I found out that she left that job, not in the best of terms. They weren't financially stable yet. So she had to move on to another job, but it does free her up because she's no longer in that direct industry to talk to us maybe in a way that she would have totally been unavailable before. She's extremely connected in the city with this segment, not just adult daycare, but assisted living,
elder care,
elder law, the entire industry. That's right. She's 20 years in the business. My mom was actually an investor in an adult daycare center in Atlanta, or actually an initial investor. I'm not sure if she even got past that first round where they may have paid her back early. That actually put it on the map for me about 3 years ago when she first mentioned it. It felt like a risk. It sounded crazy to me. I'd never heard of it, and I never followed up. But talked to her recently, and she goes, "Yeah, those guys are crushing it." But Atlanta's a unique market that's not repeatable here. So
okay.
But,
So whatever your questions are for all of you coming in right now, I had told them earlier, go ahead and put your questions into the chat box now. Chris will be on shortly and he will start answering the questions from top to bottom. He'll spend about 5 to 7 minutes on each question so that we can get through as many as possible. I want you to know also that we have, it looks like he's soon ready to join us. So before he jumps in, I want to remind you that we have 5 ways that we can help you and support you and help you with your success. We have a YouTube channel that has more than 300 educational videos on adult daycare on that. The Facebook group is awesome to join because we can all talk with each other on there in between webinars, ask questions. Chris will jump in and answer questions there, as will I. We have the monthly webinar, so go ahead and mark your calendars. September 13th, we will be on again. It's at the second Wednesday of every month at 6:30. We also do one-on-one coaching calls. So let me know in the chat. I'll send you more information about that if that's something that you're interested in. Lastly, if you'd like to own your own active age franchise, that's another thing I can send you information on. The YouTube, the Facebook, the webinar, all of those things, I will put the links for those things in the chat box throughout the webinar while Chris is answering your questions. So they'll be there for you to reference. And we look forward to helping support you and helping you be successful. So that's all I have for now. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. And together we're going to change the world. So let's get Chris in here to start answering your questions, okay? They're yours, Chris.
So you want to hire a consultant to help you open your very own adult day center? Well, I may not be a consultant. However, I'm happy to coach you. If you want to sit down one-on-one and ask specific questions about your situation and what to do next, make sure you go to chrischanna.com/coach and book your coaching call today.
Thanks, Deb. What's going on, everybody? You guys are doing well. I love getting together with everyone once a month and helping answer any questions that you guys might have. Don't want to waste too much time, so I figured looks like the first question I have. I think I'm trying to pronounce your name, and I apologize. Please forgive me. Is it Eurydice?
Eurydice.
Eurydice.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna get it. So I see you're in New York. The first question you had was, how long does it take to get everything up and running to start an adult day program? There's obviously a lot of variables, but I'll tell you what, we give to all of our, prospective franchisees is that, it's probably going to be anywhere between 12 to 18 months. For us, we do have, a pretty extensive build out, so a large majority of the time that it would take us is going to be part of our build out process. But there's a couple areas that, can either, delay or can maybe speed up that amount of time. So number one is, selecting the location, like actually finding the right location, negotiating the lease, going through that entire process. That could take 30 days or it could take 3 months, depending on how long it, like that journey is for you. Maybe you're not just finding the right location, or you're not finding the right size location. There's a lot of variables there, right? So and then the construction process is another thing that can take a little bit of time. So I would say depending on how how extensive of a build out you're going to be doing, and then some states, depending on the state, there's going to be a licensing component. So I always like, it's finding the right location, then it's doing construction, and then it's going through licensing. And those are like the three big, like, periods of time that take up the most time, I guess, in the beginning. So but again, it could take maybe as little as 9 months. It could be 6 months, but I would say, somewhere it's going to fall, if there's construction involved, maybe between 12 and 18 months. I know you also asked like kind of about a checklist, so we do have a video that's like 7 steps to starting an adult daycare. It's one of the videos on our YouTube channel, and that would be a great, like, hey, here's the first 7 things to consider, when you're first starting out. I always like to ask people, hey, what's your vision? Like, do you have a certain size location that you're trying to build? Is there a certain, like kind of like vision that you would like to accomplish? And that vision you would like to achieve, is that doable in the next couple of years? Or is it like something you're trying to do over 10 years? And, so like, meaning if you want a 10,000 square foot adult day center, should you like, is that something that you can comfortably step into today? Or does it make sense to start out with like 2,000 or 3,000 square feet? You might be doing a lot more of the work, and you may not have as big of a team, but you can like get into that at a much lower risk, and then eventually step into maybe a 6,000 square foot space or a 10,000 square foot space, depending on like how comfortable you feel with taking that next risk.
Right. So I'm thinking like maybe 20 people starting.
Gotcha. So, yeah. So 20 people. Like, I think that's like probably the best thing for you to do is like, okay, where do I find a space that's like 2,500 square feet, or somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 square feet. Something simple, something that, like, with 20 people, you're probably going to be a little involved in the day-to-day operations. You're going to be a little bit of like the admin, the operations, maybe a little sales and marketing, answering the phones. You might have a smaller support team, but it might be a great way for you to get your feet wet in the industry. And kind of like, start building a name for yourself as you kind of grow through, like maybe from a 2,000 square foot space to a 5 or a 6,000 square foot space, and kind of take those leaps,
Right. Okay.
But definitely check out. So it's 7 steps to start an adult daycare. I think it's one of the videos on our YouTube channel. That would be a great place to start. And then I think there's a playlist called Startup Stage. So just, any of the videos in that playlist might be applicable to where you're at right now.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. I'm gonna and I'll circle back around to some of your other questions too. If I'm just trying to get through a couple of people, and then hopefully there'll be time in the end we can circle back through some of the stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, you got it right. Close.
I'm not. I need nicknames for everyone, man.
I know, right? And everybody calls me D, but yeah, Diallo.
All right. Yeah, Diallo. I'm gonna go with. I can remember D. I got you.
Exactly. And today's my birthday, so this is actual special.
Oh, happy birthday, man! Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, so I see. It looks like you had a question about funding. Feel free to elaborate a little bit more, and happy to dive into it for you.
Right. So I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse almost 20, going on 20 years now. I'm a nursing home administrator since 2010. So I've been in the healthcare field, especially in the geriatric field, all my life, adult life. So I'm currently working through my business plan I've already met with a couple mentors about it, a couple tweaks here, and I plan on opening my business that's already registered with the state of Maryland, like in 2025.
Okay.
So it's just now trying to obtain the funding. I have an NPI number. I've been a Medicaid provider from Cincinnati, Ohio. So in Ohio, I was a Medicaid provider providing the RN oversight for people in their homes, so to speak. So I have that. So now, because I really want my business to be predominantly Medicaid, and I heard of someone who opened up the business in Maryland in 2024. Allegedly, Medicare will start to reimburse too for adult daycare. I haven't done any research on that to see how that will work, or I don't know how they will bill it, on what part they will bill it, but on a part B or whatnot, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm just trying to think, is it just hard to obtain a small business loan? I know they're gonna look at me personally and see the risk and credit and liquidity and blah, blah, blah. But I just wanted to know how hard was it to obtain the funding?
Yeah, so I would say in most cases, like the SBA is probably the most favorable loan you could ever get, compared to like a traditional commercial loan. Because if, like, for instance, the SBA 7A loan, like, they are gonna, part of that decision is going to be based on you as the personal guarantor. However, that loan is typically given to folks based on their business plan. So, I can tell you, just as an example, the building behind me, that's our location in Sarasota. That particular space, there is no like commercial bank that would have given me the loan for what we're doing there. If it was just a traditional commercial loan, it was really because it was an SBA loan that, now there's two factors at play, right? One of them is that we have industry experience. So we kind of check off a box that they sometimes look for, that there's industry experience. But then, two, the loan was made based on our projections, based on what that business is projected to do, and based on the pro forma for that particular location. So even though they took into account our existing stuff, it was just like kind of like, okay, they're familiar with the industry, they know the industry, but we're going to give you the loan based on what this pro forma looks like. So that being said, at the end of the day, the SBA is going to be the most favorable place. Of course, there is always, like, I feel like people underestimate the ability to bring on partners, or maybe underestimate the value of bringing on partners. And I know there's always a sense of pride in, like, I want to do it myself, I don't want to have anyone else involved, like it's mine, but sometimes if you could find the right partner, there's really nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that could be the stepping stone that could help kind of create the momentum you're going to need to maybe start out. And it could be one of those things where you bring on a partner to help you out for the first couple of years, and with some sort of an exit plan where you can cash them out once the business is up and running at a certain point. So I wouldn't discount that either. Another thing is like, in your mind, do you have an idea of what size of center you were thinking?
Yes, I want a standalone. If Lord willing, I can find one, or it can find me. But I want at least 10,000 square feet, because Maryland Comar, I've been reading the regulations, and you have to have like one bathroom per 10 participants. So I'm just thinking all the mandates that they put in place. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm just thinking about like the size, because I want at least like 60 residents or participants. I'm used to saying residents for 20 years, so my fault. But so that's at least a size to accommodate all the mandates that they put on you. So I think at least 10,000.
Yeah, so I mean, man, 10,000 square feet is a big space, So I mean,
right?
just to give you some perspective, like the place we're building, it's 8,300 square feet, and like we'll accommodate 70 to 90 people per day there, So yeah, so I mean, so to me, when I think about when you say when you say 10,000 square feet, I mean, that's a big place. I mean, that could hold 100 plus people. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe 8,000 to 8,000 to 10. But I'm just thinking about, like, because Maryland's color, I just say you got to have this, you got to have that. I'm like, oh God, I'm just thinking like the space.
Yeah,
that's gonna be neat.
So what might be interesting, because I mean, at this point in time, do you have any liquidity to put into this right now? Or
not like I want. I know I have a lot of equity, my personal properties that I own. But that's not, they want cash on hand, right? Cash is king.
yeah. I just didn't know if you like on hand, I didn't know if you had the ability to like invest, like 25,000, 50,000 of your own money into something, or is that still too far out of the question right now?
I'm getting there. That's not too far out of the question. Because I know if you have your own liquidity, you'd be more apt to have. So success of obtaining loans.
So it's one of those things where this is not a bad, like sometimes like okay, so say your end goal is 10,000 square feet. It may not be a bad thing to consider, like, hey, what would it be like if I just started out with 2,000 square feet? Like and I just like start building my name, my brand. I start to, because like there's going to be such a learning curve, like, meaning in my mind we're doing an 8,300 square foot center, but there's no way I would do that like 4 years ago. Like we're only doing that because we know what we're doing to some extent now. Like we've been doing it for long enough that we know what works, we know what doesn't work. So it seemed like a comfortable next step to take that leap. But for you to go from like today to 10,000 square feet, that might be a really big intimidating step. Whereas like for you to go from where you are today to like 2,000 square feet, to get your feet wet, to get experience, to learn how to build, to learn how to like to manage the center, to like make it profitable, to build a reputation, to how do we generate leads, how do we convert those leads, like all those things, right? And then use that as like your stepping stone to like then maybe say, okay, now let's go and apply for an SBA loan to go open up my 10,000 square foot center.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because I still think like if you want to get to that level of like, let's say 10,000 square feet, I still feel like your best route, if you wanted to do it on your own, is going to be an SBA 7A loan. Whereas, the only other option really is going to be more of like a, finding a partner, finding that right, partner that you could bring on,
Yeah. Okay.
So
well, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hey, no, thanks for joining us today, man. Definitely stay connected, for sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Me? Can you hear me
there
now?
You are. What's going on,
great.
Sharon? How are you?
I can't wait to meet you in Chicago.
Well, you're like the OG. You should be teaching this class,
Nah. But anyway, thank you for the compliment. But one of the things, because of COVID happening in our industry, it hurt the adult day centers population counting heavy. And my problem is I'm having a hard time getting my numbers back up to where they were, and referrals and getting into these hospitals and getting people to listen. Everybody is just trying to do their own thing to survive. And it's not a lot of unity and connection. So I wanted to know if you had any tips that could help somebody in the business.
Absolutely. Honestly, great question. So full transparency, COVID sucked for, a lot of us, right, in the industry, right? But, and then what was crazy, Sharon, like for us here, like in Southwest Florida, just as we were kind of, gaining our momentum back, and getting back to those pre-COVID numbers, we got hit directly by Hurricane Ian,
Yes.
And Hurricane Ian was it was a nasty storm. I mean, it was a direct hit to like our Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda area. We lost our admin office for our home care agency. So it was very devastating. And so like now I feel like we're recovering from, post-COVID or, COVID plus Hurricane Ian. So
oh, wow.
The double whammy, right? But here's what I will say. When we look back, because, as we were kind of like assessing like the lead flow and all of our information, all of our numbers and stuff like that, we realized, when we went back to the drawing board, like so many of the things that we were doing that were working so well pre-COVID, like because of COVID, we just kind of had gotten out of the routine, forgot about like those things that worked really, really well. And so, it was interesting just recently, we made a 90-day plan to put on like 6 major events, at our adult day center. So, we did a trivia night to raise money for a nonprofit organization. We have done 2 educational series, where like, we brought in the VA, we brought in, an elder law attorney. We recently had a Parkinson's event where we showcased a movie that was a documentary on someone that, had documented his journey with Parkinson's, right? And so, each of these events we put on basically like, 6 events within 90 days. It was like a way for us to kind of like shock our system, get our name back out there. And what I love about doing events is like, you're bringing people into your environment at the adult day, right? Like now they can kind of come and they see like who you are, who your team is, what the space is like. And, and like, I could sit there and drop off a piece of literature all day long, and I could drop off all my stuff, but like, if I can get them in my environment, and I can build connections with them, it's so powerful, right? And we realized that we had stopped so many community-oriented events because of COVID, and it was just like, so we decided that, hey, we have a space that after 5 p.m. is like the perfect event space. Why not us, become like the host for other, for other industry, for other things to bring people back together in our environment, key community, referral sources, certain educational events. And we picked like, okay, how do we build community relationships again? Let's do events that cater to those people, that bring those people into our environment. How do we do events for the public, support groups, and stuff like that, to bring them in, to create an environment for them to, to share and build community with each other, or do educational events, which bring those folks in too. And so we kind of created a strategy for doing events that are community partner focused, and doing events that are, consumer focused, right? And so we started doing a lot of those things, and have gotten incredible attendance. I mean, right now our lead flow is at the highest it's ever been, like post COVID. Like we're back to those pre-COVID. In fact, the last 3 weeks, like our lead flow has been, even greater than it was pre-COVID. But a lot of it was like a solid like 90 to 120 days of like, throwing specific events. We actually made a metric chart where we put like 6 to 8 different metrics that our sales and marketing director would do every single week. And some of them were like, all right, we go and pass out 5 new rack card holders or 10 new rack card holders to, these specific areas, like these doctors' offices, these neurologists, right? And then the other one was like, we go and maintain a relationship over here, and we give them a gift, and we go see 5 of them this week. And then, we schedule X number of tours, and we do X number of tours, every single week. And we use this chart as a way for us to be held accountable to do all of these activities on a weekly basis for 90 days, and it kind of reminds me of like, when your pool's going green, and like, and it's like, you got to put a little shock in it,
Right.
It's like we pulled every like, rabbit out of the hat, it was like, just every trick we could come up with, that we used to do pre-COVID, and just did all of them in a 90-day period to kind of jumpstart everything again,
Wow.
Now, I know it's a lot, but it was like, we brought the team together and said, hey guys, look, we had COVID, we had Hurricane Ian. Like we've had 2 major events that have like, obviously, been difficult to like overcome, especially Hurricane Ian. Like, we lost a lot of people were displaced because they had no homes to go to, like there's no roofs, So like we just had to get together as a team and say, what can we do in the next 90 days to get back to our pre-COVID numbers,
I like that though. I like what you all have done. And National Family Caregivers Month is coming up in November. So I've always planned to do something in November, but you just made me have to do something now. I'm gonna try something. Probably
That's
get
right.
in touch with the VA or something.
Yeah, and it's like, look, you make it, like, and we got a little strategic about it. We're like, okay, what's community partner focused? What's, consumer focused? What can we do that's like, that's like kind of more door knocking focused, like where we're, going in and, visiting and reestablishing those relationships. How can I get in front of all these people and do this on a regular basis where it's like, it's more methodical and not, because like, a lot of us, especially like us mom and pop operators, where we don't have these big teams and these big systems in place, we get so lost in the day-to-day grind that, we forget, like, we don't systematize things enough. So it's like, what can I do to create a system where it'll hold me accountable? Like what can I realistically do every single week that I could, like, put onto paper and track that activity and then go and implement that on a weekly basis,
I like that.
Did
Did you reach out
like,
to your churches in your community? Did you do anything with the churches there?
Yeah, I would say, like for us, the biggest places were, the discharge planners in skilled nursing. We did a spa night for all of our case managers, and brought them together, and, brought in massage therapists, brought in, just to bring them into our environment, just to get to,
I love it.
Build that relationship with them. So we did a lot of that. And then the trivia night thing was fun because we selected nonprofits that were like senior focused. So like Meals on Wheels of Charlotte County, it was one of, Meals on Wheels. The other one was like a group that's called Ocean, which is like an elder, like, support, kind of senior resource network, and so we like donated to those. But through the trivia night, we had a fun time with other kind of community partners that are good referral sources for us. So we had a really, really good time. They got to come into our environment. But then, what's cool about it too is like they invited some of their networks in too, and and they brought some of their people. And we even had case managers from our previous spa night that came to support, because they came with like their entire team, from that hospital. And so it was just doing things like that where you're bringing people together to have a little fun, and and you're doing it in your environment, so
I love it.
But yeah, churches would be good, support groups, like all that kind of stuff is great,
Well, you just gave me some new ideas.
Well, I know you'll crush it, Sharon. You always I know you got an amazing thing going there in Tennessee for sure. So
yeah, well, we're gonna keep bringing adult day centers to the light.
Yeah, that's right. We got to, and that's the thing is, like, we need to spread as much awareness about this as we possibly can, because families need this service. They just don't know it exists.
Right, and especially with in-home care, people are not. We don't have enough techs out there to go out there to do the work, the one-on-one thing. So I try to encourage people to utilize the day center, and I do give that free partial half a day for them to come in and test the water. And usually I sell them.
Yeah. I always say, like, for us, we're somewhere around 8 to 9 out of every 10 people that come for their guest pass. We know we can convert them.
Right.
So it's it's like the guest pass. We know we're like that is that they have the highest percentage conversion, just because our biggest thing is like they're experiencing something that they didn't think it was going to be like that. They're all negative. They're like, I'm not going to like it, and then they come in here and all of a sudden they're having a blast. They've met new friends. They're really enjoying themselves, and now they don't want to leave when their loved one comes to pick them up. And so it's like just getting through that barrier is what's so important. Because then it's like now they're going back home, and their loved one feels better knowing, hey, like, I get a break too, but mom's also gonna have fun,
And I always take a little video clipping while they're there so they can, and I send it to the family before they pick them up, and so then they can't believe it.
Exactly, and that's so important. Yeah, that's good that you do that. That makes a big difference for sure. Well, Sharon, I look forward to seeing you in Chicago. And for those that don't know, Chicago is the National Adult Day Services Association conference. So anyone on this call, if you'd like to come and spend time with a bunch of adult day operators, owners, administrators, from all across the country, and learn all about all the different, because there's a ton of different types of adult day centers. Definitely check out the conference. It's in Chicago this year at the end of September. If you go to NADSA.org. So.
Interested in starting your very own adult day center, but not sure where to turn, where to go? Make sure you visit ADCPro.com and sign up for our monthly webinar. We cover different topics every single month, and we always have live Q&A, so you can ask the questions that are important to you. Join us every single month. Go to ADCPro.com, and we'll see you on the next webinar.
Hello, I'm here with Tracy.
Oh, what's going
Hello.
on? What's going on? Hey, Zena, how are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good. I'm here with my sister Tracy.
Okay, awesome.
So
Awesome.
my
Well,
question.
nice to meet you, Tracy.
Nice to meet you too.
Go ahead, Zena.
So my original question was about doing some value added services, and how do you make sure you stay? How do you figure out like the guidelines for your value added services, and how do you decide the cost? How you're gonna charge for it? And some of the things we were thinking about, of course, like the baths, but also some laundry needs, just to make sure they have clothing for coming to the program.
Gotcha. Yeah. So when you think about like services that you want to add, do you have, so you're thinking about doing laundry, you were thinking about, what was the other one? You said showers. So
Showers, yeah. And
what-
take home, what about like take home snacks and stuff?
Yeah, I think like now, would all this stuff would it be, I guess private pay? Would this be more Medicaid focused? Like in your mind, I don't know, remind me of where you're at in your journey.
I'm in Georgia, and
Okay.
we are waiting for our state inspection.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
we're set up and just waiting for the state to give us a date that they're gonna do the inspection.
Gotcha. So here's what I can at least speak when I think about the additional services we offer. So I'm going to try to at least speak from experience. I can probably provide some tips on the other stuff that you had mentioned, but we provide showers, we provide transportation, we do hair and nails, and I think I'm missing one. Oh, and then we're open on Saturdays. So I know some places are just Monday through Friday. We chose to add Saturdays to our program. So that being said, for us, we basically charge for, because we're private pay. So for assistance with showers, we're anywhere basically between, $20 and $30 per shower, so, so like, at the end of the day, like whether it's showers, hair and nails, whether it's, some of these other services that we offer, in most cases, like none of this stuff is going to move the needle as far as like paying your overhead costs. So we look at these services as really just a way to add value to the family, just to, help create just a greater buy-in, so, but it's not going to pay rent. It's not really paying the electric bill. It's literally just, our goal is like, hey, if we do these additional things, we create, raving fans. It's one less thing the family members have to worry about, when we just reduce that stress burden. So that's the way we look at it. So, so it's definitely not a big money maker. Like for instance, on the hair and nail side of it, we hired a licensed, hair and nail tech for our market. And so essentially all we do is just provide her with the space. We have the people, we help try to like, we help try to like upsell, our services for that. But at the end of the day, we just take a little percentage of whatever, whatever she makes, and so we've worked an agreement out with her, like as far as what our set charges are for all the different things, like, a set and style or a perm or a color or just, whatever the different, variety of things are. We just came up with prices that included tips. So like, we didn't have to feel like, they needed to tip on beyond, or like, at least it was like the tip was just kind of like included and very clear, so everyone knew what to expect. And then, we just take a small percentage of that. I think we just take like 15 or 20% or something like that. And so, at the end of the day, it's not a massive, again, it's not a massive revenue generator, but it's a great, way to kind of just help, reduce that burden for families. For showers, we basically have like 2 days per week that we schedule those. We might have anywhere between, 3 to 5 showers, and we charge somewhere between 20 and 30 bucks. If there's a discount, like the reason why someone would pay 20 over 30 is because they might be on one of our monthly membership plans. And if they're on a monthly membership plan, they just pay a discounted rate for showers, or we might have a monthly membership plan. I believe one of our monthly membership plans actually like includes free showers. So like one of the perks is like, hey, if you go on this plan, you're going to, they're going to spend, we know they're going to spend at least like $2,000 a month with us. Then, we'll include showers for free for them,
Okay. You mentioned your subscription plan. That is very interesting. So yeah, that is very interesting. How did you create that? Like, how do you package something or market something like that?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different ways, right? You know, we charge hourly, so ours is based on hours that they use per month. But I've seen other models where you might have like a weekly subscription. You know, so like maybe X amount per week for 5 days a week. You know, or you might have X amount per month. You know, for 3 days. You might have like maybe 2 or 3 days per week, and then if they come 2 or 3 days per week, they might pay X for the month. And you could kind of like, so you could kind of build out one of these things where you either have a weekly or a monthly package, and it could include like a certain number of days, within the week, depending on how you charge it. Now we do it hourly, so all of our stuff is just based on how many hours they spend with us.
Okay. I got one more question.
All right.
Maybe one more. So you just do all private pay? How did you come to the decision just to do private pay, like just not deal with Medicaid? For us, it'll be Medicaid or some component of it.
So, well, two things. One, we do a little bit of Medicaid, like about, I would say 10% of our revenue is Medicaid, and about 10, maybe 5 or 10% of our revenue is VA, and then the rest, the other 80% or 85% is private pay. I didn't choose private pay. I actually just didn't even know that the Medicaid world really existed. So meaning like when we first started in assisted living, we were a private pay assisted living facility, and I just never really got into Medicaid. And so, when we opened our adult day center, our focus, our main just where we spent our time, our energy, our effort, and who we kind of catered to, all of our messaging was just catered to the private pay world, just because that's what we knew from assisted living. And so we later added Medicaid, but it was just never our main focus. So it was always one of those things where, none of our literature, advertises to the Medicaid population, So, I think the hard part is, sometimes there are probably, certain areas that maybe cater more to private pay and as opposed to Medicaid. But I would say like some people, there's kind of a false sense of, some people assume that you have to be in an affluent area, in order to like have a private pay adult day center. But I know like where we're at in Port Charlotte, it's not necessarily like super affluent. Like the one we're building in Sarasota, like there's definitely way more wealth in Sarasota. But where we're at in Port Charlotte, like it's a very just kind of like, it's a middle America town, and so it's not like there's a ton of wealth here, but there's still a need for those private pay services because people just don't qualify for Medicaid. So sometimes I know like it's hard to do this without like the deeper level kind of like demographic research, but a lot of times you can go into a market, like we'll go into a market and our real estate team will pull out the data for that area, and they'll be able to like tell like what percentage of the population is duly enrolled on Medicaid. And so we'll know like, okay, this market might be good for Medicaid, where this market might be good for private pay, not so much based on their income, but more so based on the percentage of people on Medicaid who are duly enrolled, meaning they're over the age of 65, so they're on Medicaid and Medicare.
Yeah.
So I guess there's at the end of the day, you kind of have to play to your market and your demographics. And the only kind of like sometimes I know I used to be very against Medicaid, or maybe I was like some of the way I would phrase things would be kind of like negative towards Medicaid. But at the end of the day, like it's just that I feel like with private pay you have more control over what your offering is, how we're talking about these this value add services. It might be one of those things that those might be difficult for people to pay for if they're on Medicaid, because they may only have like that Medicaid authorization to pay for those services. They may not have the additional money to pay for other stuff. So
So Chris, I'm sorry, I keep asking questions.
But no, I was gonna say, I'm gonna try to jump to the next person. That's okay, and I'll come back to you. Okay, yeah. I appreciate you though. Thank you for. I always see your name, come around. So appreciate you joining us tonight.
So you want to pursue the American dream, you want to start your own adult day center, but you don't know where to start. Go to ADCPro.com and click on the blog section and choose from all sorts of categories, including financial, startup stage, marketing, operations, and much, much more. Become the adult day pro you were born to be. ADCPro.com.
Back to me. I think we're in a bad area right now.
That's all right. Hey, I'll provide. So basically, so Jamar's question here, I'm going to answer you, Jamar. Jamar's question is, what are the best systems for activities, clocking in, payroll, transportation? One of my favorite kind of like, management systems, for adult day is Story Care. So STORII care. So 2 I's, Story Care. My buddy Cameron, he's done an amazing job at building out a software for for the adult day industry. There are certain features that are not built out yet, but they are in development. So I feel like probably within the next 6 to 12 months, Story Care will be a great solution for every adult day center for everything that you might need. We currently use My Adult Daycare, but we're in a transition to Story Care, and they built out some custom features for us. But that being said, Story Care is a great one, and I would highly recommend them for sure.
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just looking through your question here, but feel free to summarize it for me, and I'll see what I can do.
Sure. So I am going back and forth. Again, I'm a nurse by trade, and I am now doing full-time investing. So some private money lending with real estate, and I have a couple doors and a couple businesses already, but I want to still keep my nursing going. And I first started off with REL, and then we do have a couple centers around us. But like I was saying earlier too, I forget the host's name, but they're very poorly managed, and they're state funded, and I wouldn't put my dog in one. And so I made it my mission, after being a director of nursing, that I wanted to, do my own thing for seniors. So that's kind of where I fumbled into this. And so I have investors access to, capital. It's just tying it all in. And then demographics is hard because I'm on the border of Indiana, and our market in Michigan is almost seeming saturated, combined with, the ability to maybe private pay or do mix and match. So I'm kind of in that realm of which way to go. And could I combine, respite care with adult daycare, or is that not allowed because it's different licensing? So I'm just kind of in the thick of the whole demographics.
So I think the probably the number one thing to ask yourself is for you, what's more important? Is it real estate component? Is it hey, I want to build a a multi-million-dollar business, multiple locations, eventually sell and exit, pass on to my kids. In your mind, because a lot of times in the RAL, in the residential assisted living space, in a lot of cases, people like that particular business model, because of the real estate component. So people will choose that, because of the fact that there's a real estate, component attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and two, I'm just because it's a huge, now that I'm hearing the square footage, so there's this big old school that I could get under creative financing, but it's 15,000 square feet. It's huge, but it has everything that you could literally think of. And I was that would be perfect for something like an adult daycare. But again, I'm not sure with some key point indicators if it'd be even advantageous to open one up here, because there are already 2 existing ones. And, I don't know how to run just any information that I can get together, because investors want to see pro formas and be okay, well, how is this going to, run, and like I don't have a problem with the operating with my experience and stuff. It's just getting other people, the information so they can make an educated decision on their investment as well. And so then I went, back and forth with, okay, well, maybe I could do a franchise. So that's why, I hopped on tonight just to kind of see what you guys were about. And I love what you do, by the way. It's amazing.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. I think like, what's the size of the area you're at? Like, so like, I guess density of the population, or like if you had a general idea.
The county is, so I'm a small beachy coastal town. So generational wealth combined with agriculture and middle class kind of, but like all the towns are relatively smaller, but like my county is, I think 160,000 maybe.
Okay.
And then around, if you go down to, Indiana, which I border, you're going to find around the same demographics.
Yeah.
Too.
So this is just a super rough general estimate, but in a town of that size, 15,000 square feet is a lot.
It's huge. Yeah.
So I would probably be looking for something closer to the neighborhood of like 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. Now off the top of my head, I don't have any of the what's the 65 and up community look like. How many people are age 85 within 3, 5, and 10 miles. Like I don't have that stuff in front of me, so it's harder for me to make a complete judgment. But I would think a 3,000 to 4,000 square foot space, serving somewhere between 30 to 45 members per day. That would be like a kind of a healthy market.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. And the need is here. I mean, like I recently found out that like Michigan has the most residential assisted living facilities. We have senior centers all over. We have programs all over, so that's why I was like, should I go to Indiana or should I stay here? So that's what I'm, struggling with. But the size matters too. The only thing that was attractive about that is I could get it on creative financing, which is
right.
To go to, and it's huge, and the price is amazing, and it's in a good location, and so
it's just about something like that. If you were purchasing it, then you got your taxes, you get your upkeep, you got all those other like for instance, I know like our building in Sarasota that we're building. I mean, it has 8 air conditioning units. So it's like just when you get to these like bigger sizes, all of a sudden like all the expenses change like dramatically.
Right. It's single family to multifamily, right?
Yeah, it's just two totally different numbers. So like so honestly, there's I got some really really in-depth videos that I've created where I walk through like projections and like how to calculate them, and then also too like kind of like the cost to start. I think I've done 3 different videos where I'm talking about like a 2,000, 6,000, 8,000 square foot space, so you can kind of get an idea of like what's the low and high in kind of cost to do something like that.
Awesome. And those are all on YouTube?
They are on YouTube. Yeah, they should be under, I would think like those projection ones are probably either under the financial playlist or the startup stage playlist, but more than likely if it's projections, and kind of like the cost to start or something like that is probably going to be under the financial playlist,
Okay, cool. Perfect. I appreciate
and on those, like bring out the pen and the paper and
absolutely.
And, like those are a little more in depth. That's not for like listening to on the car ride. You might want to,
right?
But there's a lot of good info in there for sure. So
awesome. You're amazing. Thank you, Chris.
No, thank you so much. Appreciate it, Kimberly. And I'm gonna do one more question, guys. And I really really appreciate everyone joining tonight. So I don't know if Jim is. Oh,
yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Hey, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Awesome. Well, let's see. I was just getting to you. So, feel free to share your question with us here.
Oh yeah. Well, I think you somewhat already answered it. And I saw it on a video about private pay versus Medicaid. I was wondering if you recommended staying in the private pay or starting in Medicaid now that you know what you know, or moving into both one way.
Yeah, so I mean, I will forever be a private pay fan, so like I think, every adult day center we build, and everyone, every franchise partner that comes on board with us, like, we're going to be primarily focused in private pay, and we're not going to stop someone from adding Medicaid, but it won't be like our main focus, you know, and it'll be very like state dependent, because every state, like their Medicaid program is so different, that it'll really depend highly on, you know, does that state have a good Medicaid reimbursement program? I think Kentucky, you're in Kentucky?
I am.
I think, honestly, I bet you that I think Kentucky has one of the best Medicaid reimbursement rates in the entire US.
Okay. That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah. There's a guy, God, I'm trying to think of his name. He owns like 6 of them, and he's the one that like went and worked with the legislators and literally like you know, I don't know what he did, but he somehow, like, on the adult day medical model, he was able to, like, you know, really create a very convincing, compelling case that caused Kentucky to be one of the best reimbursement states for adult day, for sure. So
somebody who has a facility here.
Yeah, he's got like 6 of them. I'm trying to think of his name. It's like a oh gosh, I can't think of. I mean, I know it's somewhere in my like database, but and I can't think of the name of it. But he owns like 6 of them. They're adult medical daycares. So yeah, if I remember his name, I'll shoot you a message through our CRM. But so Kentucky might be in a kind of an anomaly, but like for us, just like our focus is just private pay, but but it's super highly dependent on where we're placing one. The other thing to take into consideration though too is that in a lot of cases, you may not be able to just open up and then just immediately accept Medicaid. Like sometimes there's a Medicaid enrollment period. So sometimes adult day centers are forced to have to accept private pay in the very beginning, because the first 6 months they got to wait on the Medicaid application to come through to get approval and to begin billing for services through Medicaid.
Okay, that makes sense as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to extend this too long, but you mentioned that the real estate component might be more attractive the other way with the senior care living. Do you not see this as a real estate play as well? Because I'm a little bit like Kimberly.
Yeah, yes. I mean, no, for sure. I mean, both of the buildings that we have our adult day centers, we own them. So I love the real estate aspect. It's just that sometimes, I would say like we got lucky because both of the buildings that we own just happen to be in the location or the area that we wanted to be. So like if these buildings weren't for sale at the time, and we needed to be in those locations, there's a good chance we would have leased, but because, like they just, like we just got lucky. There was a building for sale. It happened to be, within a mile of the area that we had designated, like, hey, we want to be over here. And so we were able to purchase them and go that route. I think, the real estate component, it adds complexity, but it's also something that I've always really been passionate about, so it's not that if you go adult day that you can't have a real estate component. It's just that if you go that way, there's probably going to be additional costs associated to opening that kind of a center and purchasing the real estate, also getting money for the business, and then there's just other elements that if people have never bought real estate before, it might be more complicated, and might add complexity that they're just not ready for at that time.
Okay, I didn't know what red flags I might need to be aware of. Thank you.
Yeah. No, and I think the other thing is too is like typically in residential assisted living you're buying like a single family house and converting it, or something like that. Whereas in the adult daycare you're probably looking at something that's more of a commercial building that's like somewhere like kind of off some sort of a major roadway.
Right. Yeah, that's my background a little bit more than this. I'm a little intimidated, actually. I'm listening to the group and we're full of nurses and people who've been doing this for a while. So I'm really just starting this journey.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, we got way too many videos on YouTube that could keep you in kind of. There's a lot of content on there. So,
I'm taking the deep dive. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, feel free to explore that. I think legitimately we have like over 400 videos just on adult day. So there's a lot of good content out there that you can kind of pick through and find out what's valuable to you. So
hey Chris.
Hey Jamal, how are you?
Okay, I'm in a better area, so I said let me hit unmute quick. This is we're in Georgia. This is our actual third day being open with participants. So it's my wife and I.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. It's because of a lot of your videos on YouTube. It has helped us and blessed us a lot to be able to get through this process. So thank you.
Man, I'm so glad to hear, man. How can I help you guys?
I was wondering, like in our facility, we are about to start hiring with like patient care techs. So I was just wondering, how soon in the process would you hire?
Yeah, so I mean, right now, I mean, I know you said you're 3 days open. So how many people do you currently have?
Right now, we have 2 participants that are actually coming in, but we have like 4 people that we're processing, waiting on the doctor's orders to come back. And we've been doing tours like today and tomorrow, trying to, get people signed up.
For sure. So just, all right. So little perspective. When we first started our adult day center, and this was so, when we first started, we didn't have a big marketing budget. We didn't have, all the systems in place. We didn't know what we were doing. We're probably like how you are now, just kind of figuring it out. Right.
Right.
And so when I think about that stage, we essentially, we had 3 people on staff. Now this, it was a little different because at the time I also had an assisted living facility. So, I was trying to manage both, so I couldn't really step in full time. But essentially we had, 1 person manning the front desk. We had 1 person responsible for activities and 1 person that was a caregiver. So, for you guys right now, you guys might say, hey, look, I got 1 person that's kind of like, that's going to be, primarily responsible for administrative function. 1 person that's going to be primarily responsible for making sure people are engaged. And 1 person is going to be primarily responsible for making sure that, people have the care they need when using the restroom or other, things that may come up if they have dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, So if you said it's you and your wife?
Yes, it's my wife and I. She's a health director. She's an RN, and we have an activity director that's actually starting tomorrow. But I was just wondering about like I said, the patient care tech and when to bring everybody else in. How many participants?
Yeah. I mean, so like I know for us, like say, when we got to like, I think, we had those 3 people in place, plus me kind of supporting wherever they needed help. So there's like 4 of us, right? And we like, that helped us get to like the first 8 to 10 people a day, with that,
Okay.
And then, as we started kind of approaching like say 15 people, then, we ended up adding like, 1 more person, so at 15 people, it's like, and now we have like 4 people, and eventually like you kind of ease your way into like a ratio of somewhere around like 1 to 6,
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I tell you, it has been a process, but we have been enjoying it.
Yeah, no, and at the end of the day, like just whatever you do at this stage, like someone has to be primarily like responsible and for all the marketing, all the sales and marketing. So someone needs to be out there, and I know it's hard when you're first starting out and you're doing a little bit of everything, but just don't let off the gas pedal when it comes to getting your name out there and actually, marketing, knocking on doors, visiting neurologists, doing lunch and learns, hosting events, having the grand opening party. Like you got to do everything in your power to like continue doing all of that stuff and don't stop doing it just because operations become a little bit more time intensive.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Like for instance, like I say we bring on a franchise partner, like a franchise partner we bring on, right? They have to have someone. It either has to be themselves or they have to hire someone that has to be out there full-time sales and marketing. Like we need, so it's like, and I only say that because I know that if we're going to ensure their success, they need someone out there full-time promoting what adult day is and how adult day, can help the families in need,
Right.
So, and again, you may not be in a position to be able to hire a full-time person to do that. So you might have to say, okay, hey, look, who's more of the marketing genius in the family? Is it me or is it my wife? And then whoever that person is, it's like, okay, we got to find a way to allocate a certain amount of time to like, building these relationships in our community and continuing to like educate the public and the community on what we are offering and how we can help them, you know?
Right. Right. Because I tell you, anytime we go anywhere, they're like, what? Huh? What is that?
100%.
What do you all do?
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I tell people that we're an adult day center and they immediately go, oh, so you do home care? Nope.
Right.
Like, adult day, they come for the day and they're like, so how many residents do you have? How many beds do you have? No, there are no beds. It's daytime
Right.
care, like daytime, you know, like
Yes.
it's like, I like literally every conversation we have, like you feel like, am I the one that's like not like, am I not communicating it right? Like
Right.
what is wrong, you know? But
Right.
it's because it's so unknown. So that's why, like, I cannot stress, like, and I know this is a very stressful time for you because, like, you know, everything that you had to go through to get to this point, and now you're
Yes.
open, and now it's like, you know, everything getting to this point was actually the easy part. Now, like, this is where the rubber meets the road, and this is where, like, this is what tests you really, you know?
Right.
And so,
Right.
like, I just want to encourage you to say, like, look, like, you kind of like divide and conquer. Like, okay, me and my wife, we're in this together. We're probably working side hustles and trying to do all this stuff to make it work. Who's going to be like, who's better at sales and marketing? That person needs to get out there, and they need to have some sort of a schedule on a weekly basis that they're out there promoting, you know, and then
Right.
that we're following up with all those leads and following up with all those relationships, you know, while the other person's over here focused on, okay, how do we make operations work? How do we take care of
Right.
people? How do we keep people engaged? How do we make sure everyone's, you know, well fed? How do we do billing? How do we do hiring? You know, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
you know,
I really appreciate it.
yeah, man. Hey, just keep your head up. You know, I know this is kind of the difficult part, man, but you get through the storm and there is sunshine on the other side, you know? So
Yes.
I
receive it.
and it's
It is a
amen, bro,
process.
amen. That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
Because I tell you,
Hey.
even when we were applying with the state, I guess with adult, they, you know, not being such a big popular thing like home health, they were somewhat getting confused. Like, okay, well, don't you supposed to have this? And what about a bed? We were like, no, hold on, wait a minute, no.
Yeah.
This
I
is
know.
adult day. They're not staying. What about?
know.
Yeah.
They're all confused. They don't know, you know. And
Right.
so just like think of the adult daycare industry as kind of like, okay, if you went back 10 years ago and you're trying to explain Bitcoin to people, you know, half the people you say Bitcoin to, they don't know what it is. But then you fast
Right.
forward 10 years today, and everyone at least knows what Bitcoin is. They may not know how to, you know, buy it, sell it, trade it, you know, or what a wallet is or any of that kind of stuff, but they know what Bitcoin is, you know?
Right.
And so that's like adult day. It's like, you know, we're here in this kind of like era where a lot of people just don't understand what it is, but 10 years from now, everyone will know what it is, you know?
Right.
So we just
Right.
got to hang in there, and we got to do everything in our like power to like raise the awareness of it, you know, host events,
Yes.
tell everyone we possibly can about it, you know, get on social media, promote like crazy, you know, just be over the top and just pretend that like, okay, I know that it's going to take me 16 times to tell one person before they finally understand what we do,
Right.
you know?
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
hang in there, brother. You got this, man. You got this.
Thank you. I believe it and receive it. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And keep posting the videos. We need them. It encourage us and motivate us.
Awesome, man. I sure will, man. I appreciate everyone for joining me today. Thank you all so much. We will see you on the next one in September. Crazy already. So September.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. And remember, Adult Day is the future of senior care. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to ADCPro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Click here. We'll see you guys next time.